What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome back to the X Factor Daily NBA show. We're about 3.5, 4 weeks into this X Factor Daily NBA show. We have a lot of fun doing this. We're going to continue to do it every day. We got a lot to break down today. But before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and tell some friends about the X Factor Daily NBA show. Let's get right into it here. The Boston Celtics defeated the Denver Nuggets last night, 131 to 112. Jason Tatum, 34, 8 and 5. He shot 11 to 21. Jaylen Brown, 25, 8 and 8. Al Horford, 21 and 7. Peyton Pritchard with 11. Derek White with 10. And Grant Williams with 13. I think the story is the two young guys out of Boston. I mean, they're the best duo in the league right now, and I don't think it's close. They continuously are putting up 25 each a night at least. Filling the stat sheet up as we saw Tatum with 8 and 5, Jaylen Brown with 8 and 8. I mean, they're a lot of fun to watch. They're young, they can score on all three levels of the floor, and it's a lot of it. It's really great basketball right now in Boston. And for the Nuggets, Jokic had 29, 8 and 3. He's kind of, 29, 8 and 3 is good. Don't get me wrong. But from what we're used to seeing with Jokic, I feel like he's kind of having a quiet season lately. I wonder if that's just because he's trying to get all of his other guys incorporated. Jamal Murray coming off injury, Michael Porter Jr. as well. Jamal Murray did have a good game. He had 14 and 10. He shot 6 17, so not great there. Bruce Brown was 16, 10 and 16, 10 and 6 off the bench. Fred mentioned him the other day. I gave him a shout out a few weeks ago on our daily pod. So if you haven't checked that, or on our weekly pod, if you haven't checked that out, do. But yeah, another great game from him there last night. This Nuggets team is still very solid. They're 8 and 4. Nothing to be worried about right now. I think if anything, Jokic is trying to get his guys involved, which I really like. As I predicted, the Orlando Magic defeated the Suns last night, 114 to 97. Didn't expect that big of a difference there. But yeah, the Magic came out on top. Wendell Carter with 20, 10, and 5. Bol with 13 and 15. Chuma Okeke, 11 and 5. Franz Wagner, 17 and 6. Jalen Suggs, 16 and 5. Terrence Ross, 14. They shot a good percentage from the field: 40, 62, 46, 46, 58, 50, 55, 100, 33, 100. So I think it's just a really good night to be a Magic player and a Magic fan. Like I said, though, this team can beat anybody on a given night. We saw it there. Like I said, I think they had a lot to throw at Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges, and we saw both of them have an off night. Mikal had 8 and 6. He shot 3 of 13. Devin Booker shot 6 and 19, 17 points. Campaign had 22, and DeAndre Ayton had 14. So I wouldn't worry too much about this Suns team just yet. This Magic team is not good, but they have pieces to make you really have to work for a win every single night. The Knicks defeated the Detroit Pistons 121 to 112. RJ Barrett had 35 and 5. Julius Randle had 21, 8 and 5. Jalen Brunson had 26 and 7. So just a great night from that big three. Nobody else really scored. Nobody else scored more than 8 points for them. But this is my issue with that big three is, and you shouldn't even call it a big three. Not everybody's a big three. But RJ Barrett 10 of 17, Jalen Brunson 8 of 16, Julius Randle 8 of 18. It's just not consistent. It's great to see it, when it's happening to beat an okay Detroit Pistons team, but I want to see this consistently, and I'll have some more faith in you. And for the Pistons, Bogdanovich did have a good night, like I was predicting when I predicted the Pistons to win. He had 25, 5 and 3. He shot 9 of 15. Corey Joseph had 0, 0, 1, and that was his whole stat line. He started for this team. He shot how many shots did he put up? 1 shot attempt. So what are we doing there, Corey Joseph? Jaden Ivey had 10. Isaiah Stewart had 13. Sadiq Bey with 11. No Cade Cunningham last night. Still no Marvin Bagley. So I just, this you would kind of expect that from the Pistons. This backcourt is still too inconsistent in my opinion, but Bogdanovich really starting to get going. I really do like out of there. The Oklahoma City Thunder defeated the Toronto Raptors 132 to 113. OG Anunoby had 13 and 6. He had 2 steals, 1 block, continues to have a great defensive year. Scotty Barnes with 15, 3 and 4. Gary Trent with 12. Fred VanVleet with 15. He shot 41%. OG Anunoby shot 40. Scotty Barnes 38. Gary Trent 40. Chris Boucher off the bench had 20 and 12. He shot 66%. So a good night really for the Raptors. But what the story here is Lou Dort had 13. Wiggins had 17. Poku had 14. Giddey had 15. Shea had 20. Jalen Williams had 10, Terrence Mann 13, And I'm gonna have trouble pronouncing this name. Omorui. I listened to this game last night and still can't get his name right. He had 22 off the bench. Um, this Thunder team sneaky, man. I've said it before, but they've relied on Shea way too much up to this point. But obviously, Shea's a great guard. But have a night like that where all your guys put up this kind of numbers. It's you're not going to lose to anybody when you're doing that. So, not a bad loss for the Pistons, just a good win for the Thunder, if that makes sense. The Spurs came out on top against the Bucks, 111-93. Keldon Johnson, 29, 2-2, 9-17 from the field. Keldon's sneaky good, man. I didn't give him his credit coming out of college. I didn't like his game. I didn't know how it translate, and he's just consistently getting better. Jeremy Sochan, 10-7. He's been a good rookie for them. He's not getting a lot of love. Jakob Poeltl had 15-10, 4 blocks. If you heard me say anything about Jakob Poeltl, you know what I'm about to say. Devin Vassell had 22. Doug McDermott with 10 off the bench. So just a good win there for the Spurs. You don't expect that consistently. Good for Keldon Johnson, good for Jakob Poeltl, but I just do think this team's going to be broke up at some point. Devin Vassell is having a good year for them. He shot 2 of 7 from the 3-point line, still able to put up 22 points. Is impressive. And for the Bucks, Bobby Portis 16-12, Brook Lopez 19. Javon Carter continues to play well. He had 21-6. No Jrue Holiday, no Chris Middleton, no Giannis. I don't know what else to say. It's you would still expect the Bucks to win, but it's only their second loss this season, so you can't really beat them up. Missing all your best players, your all stars. I guess you could you can lose to anybody. I'm not worried about it at all, though. The Grizzlies defeated the Timberwolves 114-103. For Memphis, this backcourt continues to play fantastic. John Morant, 28, 10, and 8. Desmond Bane, 24. Dylan Brooks with 21. Santi Aldama with 12 and 7. Brandon Clark with 15 off the bench. I will say one thing. I do like this Grizzlies team. I think they're fun, and I think they're really a really tough out. 9-4 so far in the season. I don't know how crazy I feel about them reacting the way they do after games. At certain points, dancing like crazy and everything. I do think, enjoy yourself, have fun. But at some point, it's almost like that just puts a target on your back for the rest of the league that they want to, humble you. But for the Timberwolves, who are not very good, Karl Towns 13, 10, and 4. Jaden McDaniels 15. Rudy Gobert 15 and 6. Anthony Edwards 24 and 6 and 6. Kyle Anderson with 11 and 7 off the bench. D'Lo 4 points, 8 rebounds off the starting for them. It's just there's not much else to say about this Timberwolves team. Don't like them. Don't like the vibes. Something's got to happen. They're 5-8 on the season. The Warriors came out on top 106-101. Steph Curry, the story of the night. He had 40 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 15 of 23 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3. Andrew Wiggins had 20 and 6 for them. Wiggins is their consistent number 2, and I like Andrew Wiggins. So I probably shouldn't be the guy to talk about this because I think a lot of more people are going to, they'd be a lot harder on the Warriors if Andrew Wiggins is your number 2 guy, but I don't see a problem with it. The story continues to be Klay Thompson. He had 9 points, shot 3 of 13 from the field, 2 of 7 from the 3-point line. Jordan Poole had 18 from the 18 off the bench. This is a good win for this Warriors team against a good Cavaliers team. I'm just afraid that Steph is having to do too much to keep this team relevant, and I don't like it. He's trying to, he's having to put up big numbers. He put up big numbers the other night against the Kings to, just to be able to beat the Kings. Steph's is doing too much right now, and I do think he could consistently do this. It's just a matter of at some point, Steph's in his mid-30s. We should start to get worried. For the Cavaliers, Karis LeVert had 11. Evan Mobley had 20 and 13, 2 blocks. Big night for Evan Mobley. He, as good as he is, he's had a quiet year, but I mean it's expected because Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland have been playing really well. Mitchell had 29 and 10. Garland had 15 and 8. And that's about it for them. Kevin Love had 9 and 7 off the bench. I'm a little, I wouldn't say worried is the right answer. I'm starting to, Okay, come on, Cleveland, let's pick it up. Let's pick it up. Because a lot of people are finally starting to give them recognition, and they've lost a few in a row now. They're still 8-4, still really good. The Kings came out on top against the Lakers, 120-114. For the Kings, Harrison Barnes had 13 and 8. Let's keep some momentum rolling for him. That'll be big for them. Demontis Sabonis with 21, 10 and 6. Kevin Huerter with 16 and 6. De'Aaron Fox might be a top 5 point guard in the league the way he's playing right now. 32, 7 and 12. He shot 13 and 19 from the field. Just a great night for De'Aaron Fox. I think early on in his career, it was all about speed and getting around guys. Now he's starting to rely on the skill that he now has, and it's showing. If you watch him, he's settled down more. He picks his spots and when to speed up and when to slow down, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Lakers story for them. Anthony Davis 24 and 14, 8 of 17 from the field. Okay. Russell Westbrook 21 and 11. He shot 6 of 17 from the field. So not a bad night there for him. He had 5 turnovers though. I think that's the story for this Lakers team is, Russ is playing well. And before I move on, Lonnie Walker had 19 and Austin Reeves had 19 as well. Russ is playing well for them. It's just like when it comes down to clutch moments, he kind of, makes some bad mistakes, makes some bad decisions. And I think that's why everybody's hard on him, and rightfully so. So that's all the games from last night. Let's look to this packed Saturday night. Starting at 4:00, the Brooklyn Nets travel to the Clippers to take on the Clippers. Travel to Los Angeles, rather. I'm going to take the Clippers here. I think that, we're finally starting to see their depth come into play a little bit more. And Paul George over his last 5-6 games has been really, really good. I do expect this to be a fun game to watch. The Jazz travel to Washington to take on the Wizards. I'm going to take the Jazz. Jazz might be a top 5 team in the league right now. They've got everything that you want from a team: good defense, good offense, smart decision making, and in a good environment. I'm going to take the Jazz there. 7:00, the Celtics host the Pistons. I'm going to take the Celtics. Big win for them last night. Those the two guards or forwards rather, continue to just light it up and be phenomenal. I just think it's going to be too much for this Pistons team. So give me the Celtics. At 7:00, the Raptors take on the Pacers. I'm going to take the Pacers. I expect a big night from the young backcourt, and I expect Buddy Hield to shoot very well. Miles Turner, who has been playing a lot better, trying to get his name out there. I expect Miles Turner to have a big night as well. 7:30, the 76ers host the Atlanta Hawks. I think the Hawks have the 76ers number. DeJounte Murray has been playing phenomenal. I think, that I just, a quick little bias here. I think the Hawks players would rather get behind DeJounte than Trae Young. That's just my opinion, but I'm going to take the Hawks there. 8:00, the Hornets are going to Miami to take on the Heat. I'm going to take the Heat. I don't like either one of these teams. I'll be very honest. I haven't watched a lot of these two teams play just because I'm tired of the Heat. It's the same old thing every night for the last couple seasons, and the Hornets aren't very good. So I'm going to take the Heat, though. At 8:30, the Trailblazers go to Dallas to take on the Mavericks. I don't like the vibes in Dallas right now, and I think something needs to be addressed, and there needs to be consistency from the other guys other than Spencer Dinwiddie, and I don't think we see it tonight. Jeremy Grant played well last game. Anthony Simons is going to have a good night tonight, in my opinion. Give me the Trailblazers in Dallas. And the last game of the night, the Rockets take on the Pelicans. Pelicans are a good team. They're 6-6 right now. I think, they came out of the blocks hot, started to cool off a little bit. I think they're just trying to get their guys incorporated, especially with Brandon Ingram coming back from injury. But I will take the Pelicans. They're just very versatile, and this Rockets team just isn't very good. Alperen Sengun, though, is must watch in the post. His footwork is phenomenal. But that's all we have tonight. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's snowy right now here in Kentucky, so everybody be safe. Have a good weekend. We will see you all tomorrow.